What if betrayal forged a king? A dragon emperor crowned in Warhammer's armor.
Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei was betrayed and became King of Aegis from Warhammer Movie. Before we start, please go support Jods89 for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistaken character's gender, but of course Issei is a male. 5 years have passed since the seal of the Dragon of the Apocalypse, and the factions of the supernatural world are desperate. The reason is very simple: a new enemy even superior to the Chaos Brigade has appeared, and they betrayed their pillar. Issei Sakamaki, formerly known as Issei Hyoudou, is no longer the same as before, now in a very powerful prince of the strongest nation. Problems about the supernatural returned. Prologue. Gremory Mansion. A meeting of the leaders of the supernatural factions is seen, these being Demon faction leaders Serzich's Gremory Lighter Y actual Lucifer, Seraphol Citri Y actual Leviathan, Dilastrith actual Beelzebub, Fallen Angels leaders Azazel currently main leader, Barakiel high-ranking commander, Enemu Angel fall stronger, leaders of heaven, Michael the Archangel suffers, Gabriel the most beautiful seraphim, Metatron the strongest angel, Uriel and Raphael second in command of heaven, faction Yakai, Yasaka leader of the Yakais and the nine-tailed Kitsune. These are in a very important meeting for a simple reason: the Chaos Brigade, the greatest enemy of their world, has returned, and worst of all is that they did not have their pillar. Issei Hyoudou, who was the Red Dragon Emperor for a long time, was betrayed when a high-class demon supposedly better than the one called Oromura Asmodeus, heir of the original Asmodeus, arrived. He arrived believing himself superior to everyone just for having a different and special title and lineage. In a short time, he managed to convince all the leaders except the mythologies that he was the best option as a pillar of the factions. And how he did it, you will wonder, because very easy: with simple lies and nice words. He made the girls of Issei's harem fall at his feet, and the faction saw him as someone who was worthy of being their pillar, even convincing Issei's supposed parents. But he was better than that simple pervert. The day arrived, the day that the factions hate the most, the day where they attacked Issei in cold blood, leaving him on the verge of death, and even the Red Dragon Emperor Drake betrayed his partner, since according to Issei, he only ruined his life from being feared and respected to a pervert. What was done, and Issei lost his power and could no longer recover it in any way, remaining on the verge of death, listening to the last words of those who were his friends. Serzich's. I was a fool to believe that you were a good suitor for my sister. Oromura is much better than you, he said with a mocking smile. Azazel. I saw you as a son, but in the end you were just scum, he said seriously. Yasaka. You only wanted me for my body, but you should know that Oromura-kun is much better in bed, the slut said lustfully. Michael. You're only going to insult my sister. It's better for her to be with someone with a pure heart than a pervert like you, he said with disgust. Everyone had left in a doorway, leaving only Oromura in the area. Oromura. It was very easy to convince them to betray you, and don't worry, when Rizavam and I are the new leaders of the world, your ex-wives will only be hex toys for my future soldiers. They will serve as good incubators, he said, leaving the area in a portal, leaving a brown-haired man on the floor in a dying state. After this, the factions named Oromura as the new pillar, leaving many upset, since some demonic houses knew of the dark secrets behind the Asmodeus and did not like those houses were silenced by the descendant of the former demon king. The mythologies left the alliance permanently, leaving the factions annoyed that the others continued to support the useless one they were in charge of eliminating. But as we know well, karma is very strong, and the consequences came to them, since at Oromura's wedding with Issei's ex-harem, he revealed himself as an ally of Rizavam, who returned, showing that all this time they were with the enemy that they believed was eliminated, and worst of all, they betrayed their son, fiancé, brother-in-law, little brother, who was someone pure, for an arrogant man who only sees women as hexual objects. That left the factions desperate in more than one way. Serzich's, Seraphol, Ajuka lost their respect from their faction, who saw them with disgust, choosing new leaders in their place, these being the only ones who did not betray Issei. Bali Lucifer, the new Lucifer of the underworld. Sekvari Agar's new Leviathan of the underworld. Sarah Ergbaal, the new Beelzebub of the underworld. Azazel lost his prestige, and all his research on the sacred gears was taken away, while Barakiel and Penemu lost their honor and respect, no longer having anything else. Heaven had a worse time, since the vast majority of angels, being 60%, had fallen, becoming what they hated the most in their dreams. Fallen angels wanted to tear off their wings because they disgusted them, but they couldn't bear the pain, and that only remained as a reminder of what they did. The Yakais were upset with Yasaka seeing what she did just out of lust, and they were desperate since the Japanese gods were their allies, but after what they did, they left their alliance, leaving the Yakais as the weakest faction of all. And well, the meeting took place because they wanted to know what to do with the Chaos Brigade, and maybe, just maybe, find Issei and make him come back. Poor fools. Serzich's. Curse, he said, hitting the table. That damn Rizavam got his way, and the worst thing, my sister and the rest are not the same as before, he said with tears in his eyes. Azazel. And the worst thing is that mythologies no longer help us at all, he said, annoyed by what was happening. Michael. Sniff, Issei-kun, forgive us, sniff, said the angel through tears. Yasaka. Kunu and I loved Issei, but after what we did I lost my husband, the only man who truly loved me, and my daughter lost her new father, she said with a lost look. Everyone in the meeting room had downcast, pained looks until the door was opened by a group of soldiers. Soldier 1. Surziches-sama, we have 2 news to give you. Soldier 2. They are very important. Surziches. What's this about? This isn't the time for nonsense, he said seriously. Soldier 3. It's about Issei-sama, we found him, he said, leaving everyone in shock but at the same time happy. Azazel. Seriously, what great news, he said with a smile and tears of happiness. Soldier 4. And the other news is about the Chaos Brigade. They didn't know how to say the rest. Soldier 5. They are dead, he said, leaving everyone in shock with such news. Yasaka. It's like the dead, he said, unable to believe it. Soldier 6. A new enemy destroyed them and we have proof, he said, taking out a hologram of what happened. Michael. Well, what are you waiting for? He said, afraid of what was going to happen. Video, the Chaos Brigade base is seen in the distance, but then an image of Rizavam in a laboratory with Oromura is shown. Rizavam. With the Sekiryuutei out and with the power of the Red Emperor Dragon on our side, along with the power of Office and Great Red Flesh, the Beast of the Apocalypse will return, he said with a smile, seeing a seal where the Beast of Chaos and Apocalypse the Trihexa was. Oromura. I want to see the faces of the factions when they see what we have done, he said arrogantly. But then screams of pain begin to be heard from the terrorist soldiers of the Chaos Brigade. Soldier 1. Rizavam-sama, we are under attack, he said desperately, but then a monster would jump on him, starting to devour his face, leaving both in shock because of that. At that, a portal opens and out of it comes a demon with horns and pale skin with a metallic mask-like armor, along with pieces of green armor with a belt with multiple shotgun shells and one tied to one side, and in his right hand, he has a demonic-looking axe. They were never one of us, said the being with a demonic voice, they are just usurpers, the true beings of chaos. Open my eyes, let me open your supposed demons, he said, taking out his shotgun and with his axe ready. Rizavam. Insolent eyes, he said, creating multiple magic circles from which thousands of magic attacks came out in the direction of the being who, with a movement of his axe, deflects several and receives some, generating a smokescreen in the process. Rizavam was confident until he saw the being emerge from the smokescreen without a scratch. That's all, he said seriously, launching an energy cut from his axe, cutting Rizavam's arm in the process, causing him to scream in pain. Oromura. Rizavam-sama, I shout worriedly. Rizavam. Give me that, he said seriously as he passed him a sphere as red as blood, being part of Drake's stolen power, activating a black armor with scarlet gems that shone like fire. Rizavam. Now I'll kill you, he said, carrying a scarlet sphere in his hand, hearing the word boost several times. Boost X50 Dark Dragon Shot, he said while launching the attack against a demon who dodges the attack with ease and then shoots with his shotgun in the demon's face, destroying part of his armor. Lucifer's descendant tried to throw a punch with his only arm, but the unknown demon dodged it by throwing another cut at the chest, causing liters of blood to flow out after the cut. I'll repeat it once more, you're just an imposter, he said seriously while Rizavam looks at him annoyed, increasing his power. Rizavam. Damn bastard, I will finish you once and for all, said, increasing his super demon power with the power of the celestial dragon, along with the power of the great dragon of dreams and the dragon of infinity. Dark Juggernaut Drive, said as he was now a huge black dragon with a purple aura that expressed only one thing. Death. Rizavam. Rayirg, said, releasing a brutal draconic roar, making the whole area tremble. Rizavam. I am the new beast of the apocalypse, I am the end of the world, chaos itself screamed between roars, totally possessed by power. Ahaha, do you really believe that, cutie? How adorable you are, he said mockingly. I present to you the true sin, he said, as the entire area trembled. Will the very reality of the area changed radically? A titan that was created in the depths of the true hell, a primordial being that was only created as a weapon to destroy the physical representation of sin of all creation, the icon of sin, he said, as a huge demon of great proportions appears in the form of a goat with great armor and an aura of pure chaotic power while the entire area changes into hell itself. Rizavam. No, I can't believe this, he said fearfully upon seeing that as he stepped back, trembling in fear. The enormous demon directs his attention to the Trihexa seal and then advances towards it and in one movement absorbs it, leaving only an empty shell of what was once the beast of the apocalypse, leaving everyone in shock. The enormous demon only moves his hand, absorbing the souls of Rizavam and Oromura, while they were taken to the true hell that is 1,000 times worse than any mythological underworld, where they will suffer the rest of eternity, all while both creatures retreat. The video ends with all the leaders trembling with fear from seeing that, and they all had the same thought. Everyone's mind. "Issei, help us please," they said with fear. A bad reunion. Hyoudou Mansion. In the former Chestnut's old house are all the ex-lovers of the Chestnut Hyoudou who were in the room they shared with the Chestnut, all had their eyes red from their tears, and all with dark circles, implying that they hardly slept at all. Asia, Zenobia and Irina were in bed sitting in nun's clothes, praying to the already deceased god that their beloved brown hair would return. Poor Asia, and Zenobia had very red eyes, and well, Irina became a fallen angel for what she did to her childhood friend. Akeno was with a dead and lifeless look, looking at nothing with a look that desperately said, "Kill me." Hiroka and Kaneko were not so different from the rest, both were in their cat forms, lying in what were once Issei's worn clothes, and you could see that they had fleas all over their fur, but they did not care. But the most damaged were a white-haired and a red-haired. Ross was very bad, he had messy hair, long nails, and he always hugged a battered stuffed animal of the brown hair, saying things like, "Ross. My beloved Kohai, come back for me and let's get married. I'll leave you dry every night and you'll give me many children," she said desperately. And Rias was worse than ever, her entire body was thin due to not eating, and she only masturbated thinking about her old chestnut, and her mind only repeated one word, or rather one name. Rias. Issei, 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 said to herself in her mind, being very desperate. But something that not everyone knew about Rias is something that she hides. She had become pregnant with Issei, but when she met Oromura's bastard, she aborted the little girl, thinking, according to her, that she did not want to give birth to a bastard girl. Poor baby who wasn't to blame for anything and in the end paid for something he shouldn't have paid for. In the other room you can see the chestnut-haired boy's ex-parent sitting on the bed crying while holding a light blue baby blanket, the same one they carried Issei in when he was born. The father had wasted his sorrows on alcohol, which was very expensive, all bought with his ex-son's money. What good was money when he lost his son? What good are riches if we're all going to die? The mother had a lost look as she hugged the blanket while holding a photo of her son as a baby when he was born playing with a ball. Note. Subaru. Hey my pretty boy with your cheeks, why I said, crying comically. Oscar. Okay, relax, he said, looking at me with a drop of an I'm-style sweat. Sebas. Leave him alone, friend. I think he's delirious. Enzo. It's always like that when something bad happens to his children, he said curiously. Oscar. Sebas. Yes, it's always like that. Subaru. Why I. Oscar. Sebas. Enzo. XD. End of note. For their part, the factions were getting everything ready to look for their hero. The girls, since they found out that Issei was alive, quickly went to the bathroom, putting on makeup, washing their bodies well, and putting on provocative clothes to, according to them, seduce him. Also along with the brown-haired boy's ex-parents, who were ready to return with their son. For their part, a red sphere where there was a certain red dragon, found out what could happen if he went with them, he could return with his partner. The former demonic leaders, former fallen leaders and former angels along with the fox queen and her fox daughter, along with the former bitches and former parents as well as the dragon, retreat in a magic circle to the given location, all while they were seen disappointed by those who did not betray Issei. Ollie. Are you serious? Are you going to do that? He said with a disappointed face about what was happening. Albion. Drake, who fell, said, disappointed in his former rival. Sererg. Leave them alone, they cling to something impossible that will never come back, he said seriously. Sikfara. They are hypocrites, he said, disgusted to see them. New Aegis location. A huge group of people is seen in the streets of the city, all super happy to see the princes of their kingdom and heroes of the same passing by as if it were a parade. Reporter. Very good afternoon people of Aegis, here we are all the kingdom in this parade in the welcome of the princes and heroes of all the kingdom who will be crowned by their father as the new king said, while thousands of children were among the crowd happy and with action figures of the heirs, and that a huge ship appears being the first to arrive. Reporter. And the first prince has arrived. He is the strongest person in the Caliburn region, being considered a super predator that symbolizes loyalty towards the Aegis Empire, he said as the door of the ship opens revealing someone getting off. He is the lion, the greatest of all swordsmen, leading his group, the Imperial Knights, alias the Dark Angels, he said as a huge man with long blonde hair and a beard of the same color is seen. He is Tatsumi, he said as the first prince arrived at the party with his army of Templars, while everyone celebrates his arrival. Tatsumi, the lion leader of the Dark Imperial Knights. Combat style. Knights Templar. At that moment another ship appears on the scene and several Viking-looking men with wolf furs get out of it and some wolves come out of it. Reporter. And look now, the great Wolf King has arrived to survive the frozen hell of Fenris, he said as a huge man comes out of the ship, taking very strong steps that made everything tremble. A true leader and warrior who represents courage, he faced alone thousands of krakens and mammoths using only his hands and teeth raised as a wolf, and honoring such animal he decided to name his legion the Space Wolves. He is a star, said as the next heir was seen being a long-haired blonde with a scar over his left eye. Asta, the Wolf King, leader of the Space Wolves legions. Combat style. Viking and aggressive. Another ship appears on the scene, a green one that expelled a lot of heat, as if it were an industrial oven. Reporter. And now the leader most loved by the weak has arrived, he said, while some people in the stands shed tears of happiness, seeing who arrived. He is kindness in physical form. He will protect the weak from any threat. He puts his life to protect others before honor and glory, and those who protect the weak deserve their respect. The great lord of the forge who survived the lava planet of Nocturne, the lord of the dragons. He Anta, for those who do not know, the boy is the one from Danganronpa V3, said while a huge man with black skin came out of the ship, very strong, but with a smile of pure kindness. Anta, the dragon lord, leader of the salamanders. Fighting style. Draconic and forging style. And finally, a new ship arrived accompanied by a very strong golden light. When everyone felt that light, they felt hope. Reporter. And finally, the kindest of all, the angel of humanity, the most loved by his father, the Emperor of Aegis. He represents all the good of humanity. He puts his life first in order to protect everyone equally, the most beautiful of all, at the same time leader of the Blood Angels, who are punishers of the forces of evil and are the angels of humanity, the perfect son of the Emperor. He is Issei alias Sanguinia, said as a beautiful man with long golden hair with beautiful angel wings on his back came out of the ship, making all the women blush enormously when they saw him. Issei, the angel of humanity, leader of the Blood Angels. Fighting style. Vampiric. Everyone present was more than happy to see the heirs who, without saying a word, walked at a calm pace directly to the fortress in the center of the place, while greeting and giving autographs to the people around them and hugging the children. The four ended up in a large room inside the castle, and upon seeing their father, they knelt before him as a sign of respect towards their leader father, while next to him were three children happy to see their older brothers. The Emperor of Aegis and father of the Primarches, Subaru Sakamaki, that is, maybe you didn't see it coming or what? Subaru Sakamaki, father of the Primarches, Bay State, leader and King of Aegis. Subaru. My children, it's a pleasure to see you again, and I see that your little brothers are also happy to see you, I said with a smile, while the three children were running to where their brothers were, one with green hair and emerald eyes, another with brown hair, and another with white hair and red eyes, very similar to their father. Izuku Makoto Bell, little princes of Aegis. Bell. Issei Nai-chan said, jumping into his older brother's arms while he carries him with much affection. Issei. Hello Bell, it shows that you have grown very well, he said with a smile. Izuku. Brother Asta, you are incredible. Someday I want to be as great as you, he said with admiration. Asta. Ha 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 ha, and you will do it, little one, you will do it, he said with a smile. Tatsumi. I'm so glad to see you again, Makoto said, rubbing his little brother's hair. Makoto. I'm glad to see you again, brother, Tatsumi said with a smile. Gonta carries him, placing him on his shoulder. Gonta. Gonta thinks you're not happy to see him, he said with a smile, while Makoto hugs him. Makoto. I love you too, brother, Gonta said with a smile on his face. Out of nowhere, many people arrive at the moment of the ceremony of the new leaders of Aegis. Subaru. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's start. So everyone came the time for the coronation ceremony, he said. Well, everyone was happy to hear that, and that a beautiful woman arrives to the room bringing 4 crowns for her children, and this woman was the Queen of Aegis. Artoria Pendragon, the Queen of Aegis. Subaru. What an old woman I got, he said in my mind with lust to see her. The woman approaches her children, and as she does so the children approach her. Artoria. My children agree to be the new kings of Aegis and protect the United Kingdom, she said with a smile. The 4. We accept, mother, they said with smiles on their faces. Artoria. Then I name them the new kings of AE. Before anyone else said anything, several magic circles formed in the room. The traitors came out. Traitors. Issei kun Naya-sama-san, said the traitors. Meanwhile in Issei's mind. You don't need us. In the previous episode, the factions of the supernatural world interrupted the coronation ceremony of the Primarches with their simple stupidity. Issei. I was quiet at home and you guys come to bother me, he said, very annoyed. Surziches. Issei-kun, we need you to come back. An enemy even worse than the Chaos Brigade has appeared, he said desperately. Azazel. They are demons like these, he said, showing the image of the stalker and the icon of sin. Subaru. Those are warp demons, I said, shocked, confusing everyone. Michael. Warp, said, confused. Subaru. The warp is the original hell from where the chaos gods were born, beings that were born from the most disturbed imaginations in the entire universe. If people have negative thoughts, the chaos gods will take that appearance, I said seriously. Issei. What I was missing, now they are here, and it seems that they will not stop until we all die, he said seriously, but a certain stupid redeed approached him. Rias. Issei my cute pawn, I'm back for you, she said, approaching with the intention of hugging him, but the blonde dodges it, making her fall face down on the floor. Rias. Issei, why did you do that, she said with pain, seeing what he did. Issei. And you still have the nerve to tell me, he said seriously. You replaced me with that cocksucking imbecile Oromura, and now you want me to love you like before, no way. Rias. But you are my fiancé, she said, very upset. Issei. I stopped being one when your idiot parents cancelled our engagement, and it's a good thing they did because I already met someone who loves me, he said with a smile, showing an engagement ring, breaking the bitch's hearts. Rias. No, you are my fiancé. Who was the bitch who separated you from my side, I shouted, the last thing, being very upset. Out of nowhere some swords were coming in her direction, which she barely dodges. And you're still screaming, you spoiled brat, said a female voice, revealing a very beautiful red-haired girl with long hair and brown eyes wearing armor. Urza Scarlet, promised by Issei Sakamaki. Rias. Who are you, damn bitch, she screamed, very upset. Urza. I am the fiancé of Peerage Issei, she said seriously, approaching the blonde, giving him a kiss on the lips, which made the redeed get angry when she saw that. Rias. How could you do this to me? She screamed angrily, but Issei, already very upset, approached her and slapped her so that the dog would stop screaming. Issei. Shut your damn mouth, you cheap boar, this is the last you change me, you insult me, and now you want me to be with you as if nothing had happened when you traded me for that bastard Oromura, he said seriously, but at the same time very annoyed. Surziches. How dare you do that to my sister? He shouted angrily, but I quickly got up from the throne and ran at great speed against him, hitting him in the face and sending him flying against a wall. Subaru. Seriously, you come with that bucking nerve that my son is your property, I said, very annoyed. My son gave everything for you and you only changed him for someone you thought would be better. Seriously, how can all of you be so damn hypocritical? I screamed, very annoyed. Boru. What did you just say? Damn, Issei is my son, not yours, shouted the brown-haired boy's ex-father, very annoyed, but I was very annoyed and grabbed him by the neck and then began to choke him. Subaru. Look who says it, the idiot who changed him for another stranger, I said seriously, but the brown-haired boy's ex-mother would try to hit me, but Artoria stops her. Mickey. Let me go, you damn child stealer, she said angrily, but Artoria just slapped her, being very upset. Artoria. And the dog kept going and going, saying seriously, hitting him, causing him to fall to the floor with a bloody nose. Akeno. Issei, please, we are very sorry for what we did to you. Zenobia. You must give me strong children, do you remember? Hiroka. You are my fiancé and the future father of my kittens. Asia. Please, Issei-sama, come back with us. Irina. You are my childhood friend. Please remember the promise we made when we were children. Istitsumi Ganta. Azazel. Then we challenge you to a rating game, if you win we will leave you alone, but if you lose you come back to us, he said seriously. Tatsumi. What's the trick, damn crow, he said seriously. Michael. No, there isn't one, he said desperately. Asta. Look at the face that looks at you, Conan, for me you're a liar. Ganta. Brother Asta, Ganta thinks you should stop watching, I'll summarize it for you like this, he said with a drop of anime-style sweat. Subaru. Well, that's not the point, we accept the challenge with a simple condition. The fight will be at the Aegis Stadium, he said seriously. Yasaka. Okay, we accept, she said while Rias talks to the Gremory mansion employees about a magic circle. Rias. Go prepare the matrimonial bed because my Issei will return, she said madly. Makoto Belizuku. That bitch is crazy, they said in their minds with fear. We were all teleported to the stadium while the information of what happened was delivered to the inhabitants so that they could be informed of the stadium. A while later, Aegis Stadium. Everyone was waiting for the start of the massacre towards those who came, interrupting the sacred coronation of the new Aegis leaders, while in a special area I was seriously watching this with Makoto, Izuku and Bell watching with me. The mythological gods who were against Issei's betrayal would also arrive, who came to support him, being these. Odin, the godfather of all. From Norse mythology and leader of the Aesir. Izanagi, the creator god. From Japanese mythology, Shinto, and leader of the Kamis. Amon-Ra, the god of the sun. Of Egyptian mythology and leader of the pharaohs. Zeus, the father god of the cosmos. Of Greek mythology and leader of the Olympians. And finally, Shiva, the god of destruction. Of Hindu mythology, India, and leader of the Deva gods. Odin. Come on brat, show those idiots who you are, he said supporting him. Shiva. Hit him with the chair, he said, also supporting him. Zeus. I will buck a woman in your name, he said, making everyone sweat with such words. Izanagi. Damn whoever reads it. Brah. Just finish them off, he said, not paying much attention to what would happen. In the center of the arena is Artoria, who would be the referee of the fight. Artoria. Welcome everyone, people of Aegis are gathered here to hold a battle where the Primarches will face those who dared to interrupt their ceremony, she said, while the stadium screams waiting for what would happen. Artoria. On the left side are those who betrayed Primarch Issei in his former life and who dared to interrupt his coronation so that he can become their ex-slave again. The members of the anti-terrorist group of the supernatural world of DXD said, well from some magic circles came out the Citri, Gremory and Phoenix clans, along with Volley's former team only without him. At that point the whole stadium starts booing them, throwing things at them and insulting them. Aegis people. Damn they discard him and want him as an ex-slave, how dare they interrupt the sacred ceremony, insolent they deserve death. Issei Sama is not an object, those and more insults. Artoria. And now on the right side, she said, pointing to the Primarch's door that opens and heavy metal music is heard at full volume. The heirs and saviors of all Aegis are here as well as the legendary Primarches, the Great Wolf King, the Super Predator Leon, the Master of the Dragons and the Forge and the Guardian Angel. Bloody received the Primarches said as Issei entered along with Ganta, Tatsumi, and Asta, while they were cheered by the people of the stadium, also along with their legions who supported them in different ways. The Space Wolves took out barrels full of meat beginning to drink. The Imperial Knights would take out bottles of whiskey to drink, the Bloody Angels together with the Salamanders would take out bottles of wild blackberry wine, all while they marched, they saluted or stood at attention out of respect for their leaders. Artoria. Well start fighting, she said as the stadium filled with shouts of euphoria. Issei. Time for the massacre, he said seriously, taking out his Infernus energy gun. Rias. Issei wait, we don't want to fight, just listen to us, yes, she said desperately, but the blonde only points at Gasper. Issei. First the rag vampire said, firing a bullet that makes Gasper's head explode into thousands of bloody pieces, leaving the former group of bitches in shock, but then you see how Gasper appears in the stands, as if nothing had happened to him, but of course he had a look of having seen death itself. Artoria. Gasper Vladi was eliminated, he said on the telecommunicator. Rias. Gasper screamed shocked seeing this while having blood on her face. Tatsumi. Stop crying, nothing happened to him. Asta. Anyone who dies in the Aegis arena will return to the stands. Anta. Without anything happening to him, so. Issei. Stop crying and let's finish this once and for all, he said seriously, reloading his weapon and taking out an energy sword, while Tatsumi takes out an energy sword like his brother while on his belt there was a shotgun. Asta would take out a huge axe, while Ganta takes out a huge hammer adorned with golden dragon heads. Issei. Time for the massacre, he said as his eyes turned blood red ready to kill. Massacre. The fight had started with the death of the rag vampire and his elimination, so that was the first warning, while the four brothers launched themselves to fight against them. In the stands I was watching this very seriously. Subaru. Crush them and annihilate them, my children, I said with a very cold look. Tatsumi. This one was blocking the sword slashes of Kiba, Zenobia, Arthur Pendragon and the Citri and Phoenix Knights. Tatsumi. Seriously, that's all, his speed is very bad, he said seriously, blocking a cut from Arena, who used her whip. Arena. Give up, Issei-kun will come back to me, she said determinedly. Tatsumi. Look at that bitch, he said mockingly, bothering Arena about it. Kiba. Don't talk to SI, he said very annoyed while burying his sword hard into the ground, Sword Bright shouted, while thousands of swords came out of the ground going in Tatsumi's direction, who without much effort with a movement of his sword, launches a strong current of air destroying the swords, but the blue-haired girl takes advantage of being behind him with her sword ready. Zenobia. Durandal cannon screamed, launching a powerful energy cut in the shape of a half-moon hitting Tatsumi, generating an explosion and raising a smokescreen where the blue-haired woman was confident that she defeated him, but when the smoke cleared, she saw Tatsumi there as if nothing had happened. Tatsumi. It's the best you can do, he said seriously, launching himself against the blue-haired girl, hitting her in the stomach and then hitting her with a hammer, throwing her against the ground, creating a small crater with her. Tibarina. Zenobia shouted worriedly. Arthur. No matter how strong you are, I will win and I will see my sister happy again, he said determinedly, while Tatsumi looked at him with a face of, are you serious? Tatsumi. What a disappointment, well, what could be expected from you? He said seriously while he puts away his sword and joins his hands, generating a blue energy sphere with small yellow rays. Tatsumi. Final, he said, charging his attack to then aim at the knight's flayas, he said, launching his attack that eliminates all the knights, disintegrating them and also destroying a large part of the playing field, leaving all the members of the factions in shock to see this. Artoria. Zenobia Quarta, Kibayudo, Irina Shidu, and the Citri and Phoenix Knights were eliminated, she said as everyone came back to their senses after the shock. Surziches. That power is huge, he said fearfully as he trembled in terror. With Pole. Using his axe and strength, he finds himself facing Kaneko Kuroka Biku against the Phoenix Towers, along with the pawns and the Citri Towers. Kuroka. Give up when he's done with you. Issei-kun will come back to me and give me many kittens and my sister too. Basta. You just see my brother as if he were a child-making machine or whatever the hell, he said angrily, then watching as both sisters launch a blue spiritual fire attack against Asta, who with his axe and a strong movement destroys the combined attack, then watching as all the towers along with Biku launch a strong blow that he endures as if nothing. Biku. Take this, he said, launching a blow with his staff increased in size trying to crush it, but Asta stops the blow only using his teeth, leaving the descendant of the Monkey King in shock, who sees how Asta destroys his staff, only using his teeth. Asta. Disappointment, said seriously, putting away his axe to continue charging power just like his brother did, only this one was blue celestial spirit cannon, shouted launching his attack. Artoria. Biku, Kuroka Hellcat, Kaneko Tauju, the Citri and Phoenix Rooks along with the pawns of said clan were eliminated, she said, while the factions were now scared shitless. With Skirt. He was fighting with Sona Citri, Tsubaki Shinra, Saji Genshiro and Riser Phoenix, alongside his queen Yubeluna. Riser. You are strong, why don't you leave those idiots and inferior humans and come to my entourage? He said confidently, not knowing that Ganta was upset when he heard that. Ganta? What did you say about humans? He said seriously and very annoyed while a green aura covers his body. Saji. Come with us, you deserve to be with the best, he said confidently and arrogantly, but Ganta, very annoyed, revealed part of his true power, while his eyes shine intensely with a red color like blood, while his green aura becomes more intense, and with his hand, he creates a sphere of green power. Ganta. Those who put their own life first to protect others are worthy of my respect, he said as the sphere grew larger, and those who value human life before honor and glory are also worthy of my respect, he shouted very annoyed as his sphere of power was completed, having his attack ready, and you are just as evil as the demons of the warp, so now receive this Uemigaya Blastier, he shouted very annoyed, launching his attack being a rain of emerald green power spheres while all his opponents received the attack while they give heartbreaking screams. Artoria. Riser Phoenix, Yubeluna, Sona Citri, Tsubaki Shinra and Saji Genshiro were eliminated, she said, while all the inhabitants of Aegis celebrate for that. Aegis people. That's it, they are the best, finish them, make them feel afraid, those and more words that the very animated and happy people were saying. Subaru. That's it, my children, show them our power, I said with a cold and sadistic look while looking at the sand with a smile. With Issei. He was watching this with a big smile, seeing how his brothers were finishing them off as if it was nothing, while his ex-girl saw this with horror. Rias. Issei, how can you be happy they finished off your friend, she said desperately. Issei. And you still ask, you betrayed me, you turned your backs on me, I gave everything for you and look at how you pay me as if I were nothing, and now look at how you come crawling for me to come back with you as if I were an object that you can discard and use again, he said with a lot of hatred. Bekeno. Issei, you have to leave the past in the past, and he couldn't finish because the brown-haired boy started speaking again. Issei. That's what I'm doing, I'll get rid of you once and for all, so that you never come looking for me again, he said seriously, releasing part of his power while his eye shines red, very intently implying his fury. He joins his hands generating a powerful crimson red attack, very powerful, making everything tremble. Greg. Partner, stop this, that's not you, he said very scared and worried while in Ria's arm. Issei. Oh, look at that damn dragon of disgrace, I'll finish you off, he said seriously and very annoyed, having his attack almost ready. Bekeno. We have no choice, we must defeat him, she said, creating her most powerful sacred rays. Ross. I agree, he said, generating a huge amount of silver magic circles. Rias. You will return with us whether you like it or not, she said seriously, while with the boosted gear, she generates a sphere of the power of destruction of her clan, while the word boost is heard in the glove. Rias. Annihilation Star said, throwing a huge black sphere with red edges and rays at the blonde. Issei. First I get rid of the obstacles, Big Bang Crimson attack said, launching a powerful crimson ray eliminating Asia, Akeno, Ross and Ravel, who did nothing, the very idiot, and leaving the red hair very injured. Artoria. Asia Argento, Akeno Himejima, Rossweisse and Ravel Phoenix were eliminated, she said, while all the former faction leaders were shocked to see that she was able to hurt those who were her ex-partners. While in the arena, I specify the area where the explosion originated, a certain red-haired girl got up very weakly, but was surprised to survive that attack. Rias. Oh Issei, my dear Issei, knew you loved me, that's why you didn't eliminate me, she said with hearts in her eyes and a Yandere look. Rias. Leave this damn place and let's go together to my house and you will give me many children. You don't need a harem anymore if you only have me, she said desperately as she took off her top clothes, revealing very provocative clothes below. Everyone in the arena fell silent. The man looked at her with disgust, knowing what she was capable of, while some women looked at her seriously and some covered their children's eyes. Zeus. I'll give it to him anyway, he said, while the other gods looked at him with a poker face. Adin Ra Shiva Izanagi. You don't learn, right, they said with a straight face. Issei. Shut up, the only reason I left you alive was to torture you, he said, generating some rays in his closed fist. Lightning plasma shouted, launching a rain of attacks in the form of rays that hit the red-haired girl full on. Rias falls to the floor very injured, while Issei looks at her with disgust. Issei. Time to finish this, Corona Solar shouted, launching a huge sphere of fire similar to a sun, eliminating it. Artoria. Ria's Gremory was eliminated, therefore the Primarches won, she said as everyone in the arena began to celebrate. Serzicha saw this, worried as he never thought he would see his beloved brother-in-law doing something like that. Everyone in the arena retreats and those who were eliminated ended up in the infirmary recovering from wounds that could not be completely healed. Subaru. Well, my children have already won and even if they have lost, we will provide support to the factions against the demons, I said seriously, surprising the former leaders. Michael. He really said happily and with tears in his eyes. Subaru. Don't get your hopes up, idiot. We're only doing it because otherwise the demons will conquer everything and I can't allow that, I said seriously. Azazel. Thank you very much, you can ask me whatever you want, he said happily, bothering me because I don't do it because I owe them favors, but because it's the right thing to do. Subaru. Yes, whatever, now that they recover, they leave and prepare for war, I said seriously, but then some magic circles appear and from there come the counselors of the demonic world. Counselor 1. Oh no, I don't believe that, he said seriously. Subaru. How the buck did you get here? I said seriously. Counselor 2. More respect, damn human, he said arrogantly. Counselor 3. And you'd better get on your knees, he said seriously. Subaru. It's not like I was your mother last night in my bed, I said mockingly, bothering him. Counselor 4. Damn human. Counselor 5. Your people will be enslaved and their technology will be ours. Counselor 6. Children will be sold as pets and slaves. Counselor 7. And women will be incubators of the air demons, he said arrogantly, bothering me a lot about it. At that moment, several soldiers point their weapons at them. Counselor 1. How dare you? Subaru. They come here, insult my people and my son, thinking they are superior to us, I said as I raised my hand and the soldiers put their fingers near the triggers. Counselor 2. This is crazy. Subaru. Crazy, this is Aegis, I said lowering my hand while the soldiers shoot them leaving them like sieves and their weak bodies fall to the floor. Serzichas. Thank you very much, I was going to take care of them later. Subaru. Control your people, damn demon, I said seriously. And go away, I want to be with my family, I said as everyone leaves, taking the wounded with them. Subaru. Dark times are coming so prepare yourselves children, I said seriously, while my children nod standing at attention and with very serious looks and I just think what will happen now. Start of the war. Aegis capital city. All the inhabitants were in the center of the area outside the royal palace, waiting for their leader who arrives and stands in the bedroom facing his people. Subaru. People of the Aegis village, the day we all feared would come, the demons of the warp have returned, especially their leader Korn, I said seriously, while everyone gets scared upon hearing that. Subaru. But do not fear because the time has come for us to finish them and their leader for good. My children against their legions. They will not be the only ones who fight against them. We need everyone's help and when I say everyone, I mean everyone, I said as two groups passed through the people, placing themselves in front of the crowd and then kneeling down when they saw me. Subaru. Adeptas Sororitas, the battle sisters of the church and the legendary assassins of the Assassinarum trade, I said as everyone watched both groups kneel before me under the watchful eyes of everyone. Sisters. Our holy emperor, please, we will go with the space marines and end them in the name of his word, they all said respectfully. Assassinarum. Count on you, sir, we will finish each one of them and make them see hell in their own flesh, they said respectfully. Subaru. I like that, as you know, I fight head-on for the kingdom because it is what a king must do, I said while everyone remained silent so they could hear me. Subaru. But now I see that before me there is not a kingdom with fear, but a kingdom full of very brave warriors and warriors who are willing to give their lives for their home, we fight with honor, for the best that the human race can give, we will show that humans are not puppets, much less weak. Subaru. We are the losers, I said seriously while everyone screamed afterwards. Aegis. No. They shouted determinedly. Subaru. We are the puppets of the demons. Aegis. No. they shouted again determinedly. Subaru. For old brothers and sisters and new brothers and sisters, I said, raising my sword in the air. Aegis. For old brothers and sisters and new brothers and sisters, they all said, raising their weapons in the air with total respect. At that, a group of soldiers with golden armor appear behind me, being the strongest legion of all, only behind the Primarches being the legendary golden demigods, the Adeptus Custodes. Custodes. Without sacrifice there is no victory, they said, raising their weapons, standing above me, forming a circle with their blades. Issei. For the best of the human race, he shouted determinedly as his legion accompanied him. Asta. For the courage of our decisions, he said while his legion was at his side. Hitsumi. For the freedom of our race and that we never be oppressed by anyone else again, I shout determinedly. Anta. For our families and loved ones who always wait for us to be able to live in peace, he said very determinedly. Artoria. We fight for honor, we fight for the human race, for all that is good in humanity. After that, we all remained silent and then all shouted in unison. For Aegis and humanity, we all shouted determined. For honor, we all shouted again in unison. Without sacrifice there is no victory, we shouted again, determined to start the war. The war started. I sent troops of all kinds to help the different countries of the world in the war against the demons. I also sent soldiers and troops to help the factions and mythologies. Also, the demons of the demonic faction found out about the help of Aegis. They wanted to compromise Issei with different heiresses of demonic houses, poor deluded Surziches, and the former demonic leaders explained to them that if they did that they could break the peace treaty between the mythologies and the factions. Also that the girls became desperate stalkers, hoping Issei would come back to them, but he always rejected them all, remaining true to his word of protecting humanity and all the races that exist on planet Earth. Current location: London, United Kingdom. Hitsumi and his night troops are seen evacuating civilians as well as fighting with demonic troops, but then a huge demon with a shield appears in front of him. Hitsumi. We fought with honor and your life disappeared when you dared to stand up to me, he said, drawing his sword. Demon. Primarch Kill shouted, launching himself at the blonde who blocks a blow from his mace using his sword. Hitsumi put pressure, making the demon retreat, who without saying anything, launches himself again against the blonde, trying to charge him with his shield, but the blonde jumps with a somersault in the air, launching a diagonal cut that the demon blocks with difficulty. Hitsumi. The objective of the Imperial Knights is to fight with honor and always head on, he said while his sword shines in a golden aura, all while the demon gets serious. Hitsumi. Holy sword that shines and brings the light of hope to the ends of the earth, Excalibur Holy Cut said, launching an energy cut with his sword, which the demon blocks with his shield, but it is destroyed in the process, which makes the demon get upset, taking out another mace which Hitsumi looks at seriously, while now his sword was covered by a red energy, launching his attack again. Hitsumi. Proto Excalibur Mega Sacred Cut said, throwing a cut with all his strength, while the demon runs in his direction, receiving the cut in the entire face, causing him to die, while his corpse fell to the floor. Hitsumi. How easy, he said, placing his sword on his shoulder as some soldiers informed them that London had already been evacuated. Hitsumi. To the next city, he said while everyone moves to their next objective. Current location: Scandinavian islands. Asta was with his soldiers evacuating Finland, Sweden, Norway, Iceland and Denmark, while in front of him a huge demon with two blades that looked like fire appeared. The demon would launch a roar, running towards Asta, who takes out his axe, stopping the advance of the demon, who clashes his blades with his axe, exerting all his strength, but Asta did not move from his place, being as if nothing. Asta. I'm seriously surprised you're a high-ranking demon if you can't even move me, he said with boredom until he dodges an energy shot from another demon with biomechanical parts. Asta. Now that's a challenge, he said with a smile, stopping another cut from the Baron of Hell. Asta. I'm already bored of you, he said, cutting off his head, causing his corpse to fall to the floor, while the cyber demon roars, launching a shower of missiles at him, who destroys them with his axe. The cyber demon, who was very annoyed, charges energy into his plasma cannon, directing it at the ground, releasing in the process a plasma pulse several meters around, forcing Asta to dodge it by jumping. Asta. Not bad, but I'm not even fighting seriously, he said with a smile, taking out energy, directing it to his axe to then raise it above his shoulders and shout very loudly. Asta. Titanic devastation shouted as he dropped his axe to the ground with great force, causing the energy to be released through the ground, going in the direction of the cyber demon, who, without being able to do anything, would receive an eruption of concentrated energy in the face, causing him to scream in pain, along with some demons who went to help him in the fight, destroying everything for several meters around him. After that, Asta would receive news from a telecommunicator in his ear telling him that they had to go to another nearby country and help them. Asta just nods and then retreats from the area, leaving only a trail of destruction in the process. Egypt location. Gonta is seen with the salamanders protecting the weak and civilians from the demons in the area until a series of missiles are fired at his location. He jumps back, dodging the missiles. It is from a strange demon with a high-tech hovercraft and missiles on his shoulder, and instead of an arm, he had an electric saw. The demon would raise his gaze as if analyzing Gonta and then speak. "Hunter." An identified Peerage said while shooting a barrage of bullets from his speeder, but Gonta jumps and in a dash, dodges the bullets to then put away his hammer and take out a plasma rifle starting to shoot and in this way make the hunter's shield explode, making him retreat. The hunter, very annoyed with the barrel of his right arm, shoots some fireballs that Gonta dodges with ease to then take out a shotgun, placing it in the automatic cannon mode, beginning to launch a barrage of bullets, destroying the Hell Hunter's speeder. "Hunter. Damage critical," he said as he separated from the destroyed part of his body and then began to fly using the jetpack on his back looking seriously at Gonta. The hunter tries to cut him with his electric saw, but Gonta stops it with his hammer and then takes out a knife and splits the demon's head into 2 parts. "Gonta. Keep moving," he said, falling to the floor on his feet after his fight. Location: Japan, Kuo City. Issei is seen flying through the area that was formerly his home, while his soldiers, the Blood Angels, destroyed the demons and took the civilians away from the area while he was calm, but then dodges a power outage, looking in the direction of the attack, seeing how the same demon that fought with Rizavum appears with a portal. "Stalker. No matter what you do, Peerage, you won't be able to save them all. Their lives belong to us, worthless, meaningless, in the end they will all die," he said seriously, but then Issei spoke very annoyed. "Issei. You're stupid," he said seriously while the demon looks at him. "Issei. Don't you dare say that people's lives have no value, each one of them is valuable since after all, it is the first gift we receive when coming into the world," he said seriously, while the factions who were spying on him were surprised to hear his words and could notice that there was not a single bit of lie in them. Feeling really bad for what they did to him by betraying someone as good as him. "Stalker. Well, I'll finish you off," he said seriously, launching an energy cut that Issei dodges, firing a bullet that the demon blocks with his shield, then summoning a ghost wolf that launches itself at Issei, but he destroys it with his spear, then firing a bullet that took the demon by surprise, making him retreat with wounds. The demon, very annoyed, launches himself at him trying to cut him, but Issei, with only using his spear, blocks the cut, then shooting him in the face, taking advantage of his lowered guard in the process. "Issei. Die," he said, hitting him in the face, knocking off his mouth guard and then stabbing him in the face with his spear, killing him instantly. Leaving the factions in shock to see that he finished him off in one go, that being who fought Rizavum was killed by Issei, as if nothing had happened, and the factions only had in mind how to make him return to their side, all while the blonde receives a message from me leaving the area. Filling a Titan. "Subaru." "Oh shit," I screamed scared. "Oscar. What's wrong with you, buddy?" he said confused. "Subaru. Don't you see it's already December?" I said scared. "Enzo." "Yes, and what's wrong with that?" he said confused. "In that, you can hear a song that any otaku would know." "Subaru Enzo Oscar." "Shit is Pedoro," we said scared. Now let's start with the story. Current location: Aegis capital. All the survivors of the cities that were attacked by the demons are seen being taken to the shelters, while some were in the infirmaries healing from their wounds, all while the boys return bringing more survivors. "General. That's it people, this place was created to support all humanity, move on," he said, while a group of people passes by him arriving at the shelters, at that a group of desperate soldiers arrive. "Soldier 1. General, we have a big problem," he said scared. "Soldier 2. It's very serious," he said desperately. "General. Come on, calm down, what's going on?" he said, confused. "Soldier 3. It's a Titan coming here," I screamed in fear and everything starts to shake, leaving everyone confused but at the same time terrified to feel such power and such a terrifying presence in that an enormous demonic hand appears grabbing the ground of Aegis, while all the people seeing this run away being clearly desperate and terrified of fear to see that appearing in that way the same Titan that destroyed the Chaos Brigade and killed the beast of the apocalypse, the icon of sin. "Subaru." "Shit, I'm here," I said seriously as I switched to my battle form looking at him seriously. "Issei. I'll help you, Dad," he said, reloading a super shotgun. "Itsumi. Don't forget me," he said, placing a telescopic sight on his heavy rifle. "Asta. I like more fun," he said, reloading his Gatling gun and placing it in turret mode. "Anta. This is a bad idea, but I enjoy bad ideas," he said, reloading his weapon, the plasma rifle, placing it in heat blast mode. "Artoria Urza. Don't forget about us," they said, taking out their weapons, Artoria's sacred spear, while Urza activated her heavenly wheel armor, looking seriously at the Titan. We all seriously watched the Titan preparing to fight. "Subaru." "General," I said calling the mentioned one. "General. Tell me sir, he said confused. Subaru. Play our favorite music, I said, while the general nodded, placing the song on a stereo at full volume. We would all throw ourselves against the icon of sin, starting to fight while the Titan throws out volleys of fire that we all dodge. Bonta using his plasma rifle fires a barrage of bullets with a heat explosion at the right arm, causing it to overheat with energy, exploding the armor of that part making the demon retreat. Meanwhile Tatsumi using the rifle sight mode, fires concentrated bullets at the left arm, but the demon quickly throws a blow that Tatsumi dodges with a jump and in the air does a somersault, changing the sight with a compartment of micro missiles, beginning to fire at the arm, causing the armor of the same to explode. The very annoyed demon roars loudly while thousands of meteorites fall from the sky, but Urza and Artoria launch themselves against them. Urza destroys several generating swords destroying several small ones, while Artoria wraps herself in energy launching herself against the largest one, as if it were a drill. Artoria. Raigamanyid spear that shines to the ends of the earth scream determinedly piercing the meteorite, as if it were a drill, causing it to explode behind her, while Urza changes armor to use her Nakagami armor, charging power into the blade of her sword. Urza. Starlight Nakagami said launching an energy cut that cuts through space itself hitting him in the chest and parts of the arm, causing the armor of those parts to explode, leaving the demon much more exposed to damage. Asta. Suffer from my weapon said firing a deadly rain of bullets to the parts of the torso, causing the armor of those same parts to begin to destroy, causing the demon to try to cover those parts, but Gonta and Tatsumi appear concentrating a rain of bullets, explosives and plasma in that part, causing that same part to explode, causing more damage to the demon. Who before he did anything Issei flies above him shooting the armor of the head with his shotgun. Issei. Now father said leaving the path clear which I take advantage of to then take out a rocket launcher, changing to guided missile mode, firing a deadly rain of missiles at that part, causing the Titan's hull to break. The demon, already very annoyed, would let out a beastly roar, summoning a huge black hole that would begin to swallow everything. Issei. That black hole is swallowing the entire universe, he said worriedly. Asta. Shit, we have to defeat him before he succeeds, he said seriously. Gonta. He no longer has his armor, the time has come to do a lot of damage, he said seriously. Tatsumi. Everyone charge power, he said, charging an energy attack like his brothers, well I saw this and just smiled and then summoned my ring. Subaru. Almighty ring I said making my ring start to generate a very powerful weapon. The demon, seeing this, generates a huge ball of fire, trying to counteract the boy's attack. Tatsumi. Final flash shouted launching his blue-colored attack with yellow rays again. Asta. Celestial Spirit Cannon said launching his blue-colored attack directly at the demon. Gonta. Omega Blaster said launching two huge emerald green destructive spheres. Issei. Big Bang Crimson Attack shouted launching his crimson-colored attack again. The four energy attacks combined forming a super combined attack, while the demon launches its enormous sphere of fire, countering the enormous energy attack, but it was useless since Artoria and Urza launched their combined attacks, again destabilizing the demon, causing it to receive damage from both attacks, generating a huge explosion that raises a smokescreen. When it dissolves, the demon is seen with a large part of his torso destroyed, while huge pieces of flesh and blood fall to the floor, leaving the demon's ribs exposed. Subaru. Another equally strong attack and it will be your damn end, I said seriously taking out the weapon that Venezdano created, I said taking out a jet black sword with crimson red lines on the blade. Subaru. You will pay for all the lives you have killed Geopasta, Hellfire Annihilation Mortar, I said generating a miniature jet black sun, and it merges with the edge of the sword, and in a quick movement I launch a fire cut in the shape of a half moon, hitting the demon full on. The demon would let out a brutal and heartbreaking cry of pain, while much of the demon's flesh begins to burn disintegrating into ashes that the wind carries away. Subaru. Now attack I said as everyone begins to charge power in their next attacks. Tatsumi draws his sword accumulating sacred power in the blade, Gonta takes out his hammer and begins to expel fire at high temperatures generating lava under his feet, Asta accumulates energy in his axe and gripping it very tightly prepares to hit the ground once more, while Issei accumulates cosmic power in his hands. For my part I accumulate black fire in the sword, accompanied by some small violet rays expelling a devastating power, and after that I launch a fire cut to the sky generating storm clouds. Gonta. Magma Star Total Annihilation shouted, launching a huge sphere of fire in the direction of the demon. Asta. Titan Devastation screamed hitting the ground with great force, generating an eruption of energy that was directed against the demon. Tatsumi. Excalibur Sacred Cut said launching a powerful energy cut. Issei. Stardust Extinction shouted, releasing a shower of shooting stars. Subaru. Lavia Gigu Gaverized, thunder flaming electric field purple destruction, I said pointing my sword at the demon, while huge purple rays fell from the sky, generating brutal damage to the demon who not only receives the lightning, but also receives the attack of the boys, making an explosion greater than the previous one, showing the demon who had a large part of his body destroyed, while huge pieces of meat fall to the ground. Issei. The time has come to finish him off, he said seriously as he generated 2 new weapons, giving Issei a sword, one with a red energy edge, the crucible being the only weapon capable of killing demons. Subaru. Icon of Sin, prepare yourself now, you will know the end of the eternal dream. I myself will show you the harsh reality, I said with a smile, taking out the EA weapon that begins to spin. Subaru. Now wake up, I said as I emerged from the weapon surrounded by red energy. A worthy stage has been arranged for you. Subaru. Lift your eyes and behold Enuma Elish, I said as I pointed towards the demon where a large vortex of energy shot out. The whole place began to shake where everyone saw how reality itself was being torn apart. The shock wave after the clash of power arrived, generating an enormous roar, revealing the Titan completely wounded and very tired, placing his hands on the Aegis, panting from exhaustion. Issei. Wow, it seems you got beaten up, he said with a smile, approaching the demon with the crucible in his hands. And consequently jump, burying the edge of the blade with force into the beast's brain, and with a strong movement Issei breaks the blade, separating it from the one-armed man who was holding it, leaving only the blade buried in the Titan's brain. The enormous Titan let out a final roar and then slammed his lower jaw hard into the ground of the area and then fell back into the depths of hell through the same portal from which he came. When he swallowed the enormous beast, the portal disappeared and everything returned to normal. Following that, all the survivors came out of the shelters seeing that in shock and then let out a cry of victory when they saw that the Titan was killed. While the factions who saw all this were in shock, they defeated a Titan alone using their best weapons. The being that defeated the Trihexa was killed by them, as if it were nothing, and greed won them over, and they wanted to recover Issei by any means, so that he would once again be the pillar of the alliance. Surziches. We must bring Issei back to our home. Azazel. But as if he hates us. Yasaka. How will we get him back? Surziches. We must kidnap him and seal his power so he can't escape again, he said seriously. Lykel. What if they find out where he is? He said worriedly. Surziches. Well, may the deceased god protect us, he said seriously, while everyone began to think about the plan. Seeing the pros and cons of it and no matter how much it hurt them, they agreed to do it. While in the warp, the king of demons, the god of chaos, the lord of war and blood, would be seen watching this seriously. The war against chaos began. After the defeat of the Icon of Sin and stopping the demonic forces of the warp, all members of humanity who were taken to Aegis gathered in the center ready for the final battle, but they were not the only ones, they would also be accompanied by warriors from Greek, Nordic, Hindu, Egyptian, and Japanese mythologies, armed and ready to help as much as they could. As well as members of the factions who did not betray Issei, willing to fight for their world. Before anyone could say anything, the members of the 3 major factions and the yokai would appear, all accompanied by a large number of soldiers from their respective sides. Subaru. What are you doing here? You did not get what you deserved when my children beat you. I shouted, very annoyed. Surziches. We want to help and be able to defeat chaos, he said seriously. Artoria. What do they gain from all this? She said seriously. Azazel. We want to help you so we can show you what we are, he said seriously. Lykel. We live in this world, we can't just sit back and do nothing, he said seriously. Subaru. Ah, I see what you're trying to do. You want to show that you're strong by helping us in the war so that we trust you, and when we least expect it, you stab us in the back, I said seriously, scaring them. Yasaka. How the hell did she know that? She said in her very scared mind. Subaru. Stupid bitch, it must be because I can read minds, I said seriously, scaring them. Surziches. Please trust us, we really want to help, he said desperately. Subaru. Sigh, okay, but don't you think we'll be your bodyguards or something? Yes, I was serious and the leaders understood. Meanwhile in my mind. Subaru. Ha, poor fools, they won't last long against the forces of chaos. I hope they die once and for all, they'll be cannon fodder, I said in my mind with a smile. The portals become larger and each group enters them, appearing in front of what seemed to be an enormous field of past battles, filled with rivers of blood and mountains of bones of all kinds of living beings. On the other side of that battlefield, a massive bronze fortress adorned with artifacts representing blood and rage itself, built upon a foundation of murder and strife, the source of all forms of battle and conquest. Atop that fortress, seated upon a throne of skulls, lay a figure with a very dangerous aura that only hinted at one thing. Danger. He was depicted as a gigantic warrior clad in ornate armor of black chaos metal and bronze, wielding a gigantic weapon glowing with a fierce inner fire, known as the Wobringer. His body was stocky and muscular. His face was fearsome, staring with a beastly expression from beneath his heavy helmet. Subaru. Khorne, I said seriously, seeing the god of chaos, of war, blood and violence itself. Khorne, god of chaos, war, the berserker of blood and wrath. Note. The bucking crazy war lover who loves wars and bloodshed. The Khorne rune represents the stylized features of a skull, the symbol of death, and its followers favor blood-red armor and banners. Khorne. Wow, they came very far, he said seriously, while some were scared when they saw his gaze on them. Khorne. But now allow me to end your suffering, humans, he said seriously, well that last sentence made the area rumble, while the echo carried away what he said. Subaru. This ends here and now, I said seriously, while the god said nothing. Khorne. It is fascinating how human beings crave power so much and a greed that even we demons lack. Their greed reached the point of massacring each other for their own interests, whether for territory, materials, resources or simply to see who is right, especially in the religious issue. They want to know so much who their god is that they do not care about giving the lives of innocent beings just to know who is telling the truth. Even wanting power, and when that power is not what was expected, they simply disappeared, leaving the blame on the innocent, letting them be destroyed, he said seriously, leaving everyone in a sepulchral silence. Khorne. Now I will ask you, Emperor of the Humans or Great King of Aegis, Protector of Humanity, he said, looking at me seriously. Khorne. Tell me why good people must go through so much suffering for the sins of others, he said, leaving everyone in shock at such a question, but I just smile when I hear that. Subaru. I'm not interested in that anymore, I said, leaving everyone confused. Subaru. No race is superior or special, nor is it evil for no reason. You make the mistake of always blaming humans for things that other races do, leaving us as the villains always without knowing that you make mistakes, like you who only let yourself be guided by anger, and who always looks for ways to kill, or like the other chaos gods who only do those things simply because they seek to satisfy even their lowest primitive instincts, like Slaanesh, who only looks for ways to satisfy himself, or like Tzeentch, who does it because he likes to play with the destiny of all. But I will tell you one thing, God, I said, closing my eyes for a moment. Subaru. I have a dream, and that dream is that one day every person of any race will have control of their own destiny, and that no tyrant with power will take it for his own benefit. We will fight for a better future, a world where finally creation has peace, and we will achieve that if we kill you, I said seriously, while Khorne said nothing. Khorne. Very well, if that is your decision, I do not see why not intervene and fight, doing what I like the most, he said with a smile, while some portals open, revealing three figures that came out of them. The first age presents him as a demonic figure. His wrinkled face juts out from his chest so that his head is directly connected to his torso. Two great horns rise from his head, and he is surrounded by a perpetual, swirling mist. His skin constantly mutates and is covered in ever-changing faces that mock those who look upon them, presenting themselves in a completely different guise, or simply as a monster. That was Tzeentch, the god of fate. Tzeentch, the one who changes things and moves the strings of destiny. Note. The crazy research lover who seems to like Lovecraft and his world. The next god to emerge was simply disgusting in appearance, being described as a gigantic, bloated, rotten piece of flesh with leathery, necrotic hide of a horrible green color. It was Nurgle, the god of decay and blasphemy, humming a happy song while stirring a cauldron with a green liquid inside, containing many more new diseases. Nurgle, the father of blasphemies. Note. The ugliest of the gods, but at the same time the best of the four, who has a kidnapped waifu. The last figure to emerge from the portal was a female form on his right and male on his left, with two pairs of horns emerging from his flowing golden hair, being the last and youngest of the chaos gods, Slaanesh, the prince of excess and pleasure. Slaanesh, the prince of excess and pleasure. Note. The hermaphrodite of the quartet who likes to perform the entire Kama Sutra as well as torture in horrible ways, not to mention that once he made a slit in space itself and stuck his penis in it to feel pleasure. Tzeentch. Surrender, stupid human, you can't beat us, accept your destiny, he said seriously. Nurgle. Let the plagues enter your body when I crush it and you fall into the cold arms of death, he said seriously. Slaanesh. Accept that your god has abandoned you and succumb to pleasure, he said in a lustful tone. Subaru. It seems that the four are here. Perfect, their death will be easier, I said with a smile, releasing my true power. Subaru, maximum power, god emperor of humanity. Subaru. Humanity, I said, pointing my sword at the chaos gods. Unity, I said, as all my soldiers advanced. The space marines, the battle sisters, the assassin craft and the golden crusaders advanced towards the front with determination, with their weapons ready and blades wanting to pierce the flesh of the heretics. While the gods extend their hands, making several portals come out, thousands of demons to their service. From the Khorne portals that were the red ones come out. The Soul Eaters, the greater demons of Khorne, who revel in destruction and bloodshed while wielding massive weapons. Khorne Bloodletters, the lesser demons, who form the bulk of the Blood God's troops, wielding flame-drenched swords. Khorne Juggernauts, beasts unleashed from their bronze pens. Only the strongest and bravest of the gods' champions may ride one of these mighty creatures. Khorne Crushers, these form the cavalry of Khorne, powerful bloodletters mounted on unstoppable juggernauts. From the portals of Tsinch that were light blue, come the following. Horrors, pink or blue, are the most abundant lesser demons of Tsinch, an ever-shifting mass of flesh, limbs, and fiery orifices. Horrors are capable of unleashing potent psychic attacks against their foes. Incinerators are slightly more powerful lesser demons, with numerous gaping maws that expel the terrible flames that obviously give them their name. They often fight alongside horrors, and like them, are capable of unleashing magical blasts of energy against their enemies. Howlers are manta ray-like demonic beasts that swoop down upon their foes and slash at them with their razor-sharp fangs, though they prefer to emit an unholy shriek that wounds and terrifies most mortals. The Lords of Change are the greater demons of Tsinch, typically appearing as large humanoid figures with bird-like skulls and wings, and possessing vast intellect and sorcerous power. Their bodies, especially their wings, are often multicolored. They fire powerful blasts of lightning and warp fire. The discs of Tsinch are a disc-shaped blend of psychic energy, metal, and a lesser demon, often used as transports by Tsinch's mortal champions. They are capable of attacking nearby foes with lightning bolts or powerful tentacles. From the Nurgle portals that were green come the following. Great Unclean Ones, these are the greater demons of Nurgle, enormous bloated disease-bringing beings who often carry a weapon known as a plaguesword into battle. These immense rusted blades are said to be dipped in the hideous foul pus at the base of Nurgle's throne. The Great Unclean Ones are distinguished from the greater demons of the other gods in that, while the former are simply incredibly powerful servants, the former are identical copies of Nurgle himself, both in physical form and personality. In other words, every Great Unclean One is simultaneously Nurgle. Thus, their followers often call them Daddy Nurgle or Father Nurgle. Despite their utterly bloated and putrid appearance, their character is never dark or morbid. In fact, it is quite the opposite, and they are driven by all the trivial enthusiasms that move the living. They are gregarious and even sentimental, and have a great appreciation for their followers, going so far as to call them their children, and clearly taking pride in their appearance and attitude. Plaguebearers, these are the common demons of Nurgle, and possess a vaguely human appearance with a single burning eye. Often called the counters of Nurgle, they strive to count all diseases and represent humanity's need to impose order on a chaotic and merciless universe. A single scratch from their rusty blades is enough to cause a plague that sends the infected to Nurgle's realm. They have special combat abilities that allow them to wound enemies no matter how tough and infect them with Nurgle's rot. Nurglings, these are the demonic servants of Nurgle. They resemble miniature representations of Nurgle, with faces both friendly and malicious. They are gregarious, agile, and constantly active. They attack the enemy in great waves, overwhelming them with their superior numbers. They are often seen following Nurgle's champions or gathered in hordes around the great unclean places. When they attack, they use their plague and disease-ridden claws to bring down larger foes and then unleash their poisonous bites. Nurgle beasts, these are enormous, happy, slug-like creatures that crawl across the battlefield, leaving a trail of slime behind them. They embody the Plague Lord's generous excitement, displaying a friendly nature that is the complete opposite of the lethal consequences of their advance. And from the portals of Slaanesh that were the pink ones come out. Keepers of Secrets, the great demons of Slaanesh. They can resemble large, bestial, and ugly creatures, or conversely, agile and terrifying beings of unholy beauty. Demonettes, the lesser demons of Slaanesh. They are insanely beautiful, often with a male and female half. They usually have pincers instead of hands. Slaanesh steeds, the demonic mounts of Slaanesh. They are serpentine, vicious creatures that attack with their grasping tongues. They are often ridden by demonettes and favored champions. Slaanesh demons, the demonic beasts of Slaanesh. They are a strange mix of insect, reptile, and human. Both armies advance towards each other, starting the great war that will define creation, colliding with each other. The arrival of reinforcements. The war began and we were all fighting with the chaos gods, creating a brutal war scene. I was leading my troops while my children fought and cut through the demons that stood in front of them. Subaru. Don't back down, people, we can beat you, he shouted, encouraging the soldiers. The Battle Sisters mounted their tank launching ballistic missiles, wiping out huge numbers of demons, while some finished them off using their flamethrowers. The Vindicare assassins fired from afar using their sniper rifles, killing demons one after another, while the Calidus assassins infiltrated the enemy base and began shooting at the enemies from remote areas, while the Eversors and Calixus destroyed everything in their path with their weapons and gutted demons in all directions. The Space Marines devastated everything in their path, shooting, cutting or hitting around them. The Dark Angels using their swords cut demons here and there, as did the Space Wolves who used huge axes to cut demons. The Salamanders burned and helped the weak, while the Blood Angels shot from the air, using their mechanical wings raising the demons, while the Custodes created a massacre throughout the battlefield. Subaru. Listen to me, my children, we have to fight directly against the gods to finish them once and for all, I said seriously, looking at my children. Issei. But father, they are very strong. If we work as a team, we would only beat one, and besides, there are 4 of them. How will we do it? He said, confused. Subaru. Sigh, I didn't want to do this since I didn't want them to get hurt, but I have to call them, I said, taking out a communicator, calling my pawnas. A little while later, the entire battlefield is seen full of corpses from both sides, and the war did not seem to stop in any way until some portals open. The Scaranimimax, the cavalry has arrived, you sons of bitches, he said, appearing with the company. SEBAS-14 Pro, the one they were crying for, has arrived, he said, appearing with his axe. Narakanakado, time to cut demons, he said, taking out his katana. BNZODEMATTEI-88, the strongest knight of all has arrived, said the green-haired man in his Andromeda armor. The IEGOV3N0M, time to help the friends, he said seriously, taking out his claws. Ultimatrix, I don't know what's going on here, but I think I like it, he said with a smile. RYUHAYABUSA087, I finally appear, this is my time to shine, he said with a smile. Nelson Giddy, time to shine, he said with a smile. Sebas Oscar Nero Enzo Takeda Diego Ryu. And you are, they said, confused at not knowing him. Nelson. My name is Nelson de Giddy, but you can call me Dr. Voodoo. I'm from Africa. Sebas Nero Oscar Enzo. Dr. Voodoo, what a bucking name, is the best name ever. Ryu. And well, you come to help, he said, seeing him. Nelson. Yes, he said with a smile. Nikita. Well, welcome, because we need all the help we can get, he said seriously. Diego. Guys, we'll talk to each other later because more are coming, he said, watching as a group of demons approached them, but then the demons fell to the ground, dead from some strange bullets that came out of the portal. JOS3AL20, the banana grocer arrived at the party, he said, appearing with his weapons ready. BLAIEFF 1918. It's good to see you guys again, he said with a smile. Diego. Great. Nero. Heh, now we're complete, he said with a smile. Sebas. We must help our friend. Enzo. Back in action, said Reddy. Nikita. Don't be confident, go all out, those gods aren't weak at all. Jose. Let's hope Subaru has a plan for all this, he said seriously. Giordani. Must have it. Oscar. Ready because it's time to be an anti-hero. Nelson. Prepare for my African magic. Ryu. That sounded a little bad and racist, but no problem, he said, ready. The 10 looked at each other and nodded, launching themselves against the demons, beginning to attack them. Nero, Sebas and Ryu used their short stabbing weapons to finish off several demons with a few cuts, while Jose and Giordani used their long-range weapons to finish them off, reducing them to simple bullet sponges. Diego cut and tore each one apart using his claws, and Enzo finished off a large number of them simply with magical attacks. Enzo. Nebula Storm shouted, launching an attack of concentrated cosmos all in a single powerful explosion of spiraling energy. Nelson. Willow Thought screamed, launching a huge rain of purple fireballs, being spiritual fire, charring thousands of demons in one fell swoop. Oscar. Eruption of hellish flames shouted as he flew over the area in his fire form and then released a huge explosion of flames that took the form of a majestic bird, killing several demons. Sebas. Zawarudo said, stopping time for everyone except the Chaos Gods and then placing himself in front of a large group of demons, along with Takeda, who had energy in his fist. Sebas Takeda. Machine Gun Sunlight Yellow Overdrive, both shouted the name of their respective techniques, reducing the demons with blows. Nero. It's our turn, don't you believe it, friend? He said with a smile, taking out his Yin Yamato. Ryu. I say the same thing, he said with his dragon sword ready. Nero. Ryu. Judgment Cut and Cut of the Great Bestial Dragon, both shouted, launching their best cuts, being billions of light and fire cuts against the thousands of demons, cutting them into many pieces. Jose Giordani. It's time or never, they both said seriously. Giordani. Chains of Hellish Chaos scream, launching a crushing blow with his hell-burning chains. Jose. Big explosion of bananas shouted, shooting 2 huge yellow bullets, generating a huge explosion of golden fire. Diego. Big Bloody Blade shouted, releasing his alpha mode and then launching some powerful cuts that destroyed everything in their path, leaving everyone in shock to see that. While the factions watched with fear the power of the Aegis allies, making a mental note to never mess with Aegis. Subaru. Guys, I said, happy to see you. Oscar. Hello friend, how are you? Sebas. Corduroy. Diego. Hello, dude. Jose. Crazy, how are you? Nikita. It's good to see you again. Giordani. Thanks for inviting me once again. Nelson. I also like to participate. Enzo. What a place. Nero. Do you have any ideas to end this war? Ryu. Tell us you have a plan. Subaru. Well, yes, I have a plan, calm down, but first things first, we can't kill the Chaos Gods, because they are immortal. All. No, we're going, Mother said, frightened. Subaru. But I have a plan, and that is to seal them. Oscar. And how will you do it? He said curiously. Subaru. With this, I said, taking out a very rare golden key. Nikita. That's the Keyblade from Dragon Ball Heroes, no. Subaru. Exactly, I'll use it to seal the Chaos Gods in a space-time prison and thus finish them off. Sebas. That sounds good, but there's some problem, right? Subaru. Yes, I have to have the seal ready, and for that I need to buy time. Diego. Let me guess, you want us to distract the other gods, right? Subaru. This is something I can count on you for. All. Count on us, said the 10 determined ones. Subaru. PSST hair Ryu, I said, whispering to the mentioned. Ryu. What's wrong? He said, confused. Subaru. Take this, I said, giving him the sword Venezdana. Ryu. Oh hey, thank you very much, he said with a smile. Subaru. You're welcome, I can generate another one, don't worry. Subaru. Well, I will take care of Korn along with my children, I said seriously, running straight to the base, while killing any demon that got in front of me, while the boys stayed on the battlefield while they continued fighting with the demons. Subaru. My children, it is time to finish Korn and the gods, I said seriously. Asta Tatsumi Ganta Issei. Lord, yes Lord, they said determinedly as we ran straight to the main base. Sebas. Boys, he said, pointing out how the other 3 Chaos Gods stayed with them. Slanish. Hey, look, nothing but the cutest boys, it will be fun to play with you and do all kinds of perverted things, he said with a lustful smile. Sinch. They have come for nothing, the destiny of humans is ours, he said seriously. Nurgle. Let the rod enter your bodies, he said seriously. All. They never shouted, determined to win. Well, with me. We had already managed to reach Korn's base while he was waiting for us to start the final fight. Korn. This will be fun, I'll finish it all with my own hands, starting with you, he said seriously, falling in front of us with his armor ready, taking out his flaming sword, ready to fight. Asta Issei Tatsumi Ganta Subaru. No, if we beat you first, bastard, we said, determined to win. Duel against the gods of chaos. The war proceeds normally outside the fortress, while inside things were not so different, since we found ourselves crossing thousands of corridors, finishing off the different guards, whether from Korn or from the other chaos gods who remained inside it. After crossing several corridors, we would arrive at the front, seriously seeing a huge room being surrounded by multiple divine beings who are still alive, the true angels being the Makar. Makar? They are worthy, they said as they gathered around the platform. While on the platform you can see Korn at the top with his bronze armor ready next to his flaming sword in hand. Seeing him, all of us prepared our weapons, while some prepared energy ready in case they would use some attacks. Makar. With the ancestral beings as witnesses, the Emperor of Humanity and the chaotic Lord of War perform the battle ritual before the throne room of Inmora, in a battle that will determine the destiny of existence. Said the beings as witnesses. Makars. Alamect, Evegna said words in their native language. Korn. You face the dark realm with violence and war, but conflict is born from hell. That is inevitable, a fire that nourishes creation and gives purpose where there was none, he said, leaping onto the platform where we stood while we clenched our fists in readiness to fight. Korn. Rise and fight, Emperor, honor and praise your true god, fight and show me your goal, he said, taking out a bronze shield. Subaru. When you die there will definitely be peace in existence itself, I said seriously. Korn. I have been a prisoner of my own creation for too long. Neither you nor any god will be able to stop my vengeance, he said seriously. Issei. Why do you have so much hatred towards creation? He said seriously. Korn. That's very simple, child, why don't you ask your god, he said seriously. At that moment, a golden light being appears in front of the combat platform in a golden spiritual form. The one who has many names, Jehovah, Allah, Elohim, or simply God, the supreme creator. God. He was one of the first to be created along with creation itself, born from the hatred and anger of creation. When he ascended, the rest of the warp also rose. He said seriously and with an omnipotent voice that resonated throughout the room. The star. But how is that possible, he said confused. God. When I created everything, the warp was created to serve as an entrance to the paradise of the afterlife. It was supposed to be a beautiful and pleasant place, depending on the thoughts of mortals, but war was everywhere, rotten bodies scattered in thousands of mountains with insects fluttering around their rotten flesh, greed, envy, lust, gluttony, pride, sloth, but above all anger reigned over much of creation, he said, while we all listened to him attentively. Odd. And after that, evil took over their hearts with a single objective. To end creation, he said seriously while we were in shock for hearing that. Porn. When I'm done with you, the next thing will be creation. They lied to you, Emperor. In Mora, Urdak, Sentinel Prime would be perfect places if it weren't for evil. They locked us up, they stole our power, and our name, and the time has come to settle accounts. I am the one many call Lucifer, Nurgle is the one you call Beelzebub, Slaanesh is the one you call Asmodeus or Lilith, and Tzeentch is the one you named Azazel, he said seriously. Anta. Is your hatred because creation is still at war, or is there something else? Porn. If there are more, it sickens me to know that there are beings who call themselves demons, angels, fallen and gods. They are only usurpers of the true greatness of the supreme divine beings, just as there are original demons, there are original angels. Kitsumi. The Makare said seriously. Porn. Exactly, he said without further ado. Porn. I will destroy every universe fragment by fragment, molecule by molecule, atom by atom, ending every cursed race that stains its preciousness, returning everything to the void that always was, and I will create a new one from the ashes, and I will start with you, I will enjoy it like you can't imagine, he said, getting into a combat position like us. Backers. Tempus, quo duo titanes convenient, scriptum est, the time has come, two titans will meet, it was written, they said seriously, now starting the fight. Porn was the first to move, launching himself against Tatsumi, who blocks his sword slash with his own, surrounded by energy, while Gonta takes advantage of the situation by trying to hit him with his hammer, but Korn stops him with his shield. Porn. That's the best you've got, he said, turning in circles, pushing back both Primarches. Issei throws a thrust that collides with the god's chest armor, without managing to scratch him. Porn. Simple tickles, he said seriously, launching a horizontal fire cut that Issei barely dodges. Subaru. Artoria, how is the seal? I said, speaking to her through a communicator. Artoria. There is still time to go, she said seriously, while she and Urza made a seal using the Keyblade, giving it their energy, as well as some magicians from the background, who were also giving their part. Asta. I'll finish you off, he said, jumping and then plummeting against the god using his axe, but Korn stops him with his shield, and then makes a star retreat. Porn. Do you know what an atom is, kid? He said, confusing Asta. Porn. An atom is composed of neutrons, protons, and electrons, but the nucleus of the atom is what interests us, since it is made up of positively charged protons and uncharged neutrons, but above all, its mass is made up of energy that maintains a balance, so that it remains stable and united. Now tell me, boy, what would happen if that balance were broken? Easy, that energy is released, this is the principle of atomic bombs, he said with a smile, while his fist had energy gathered, alarming everyone because of that. Subaru. Did he say seriously while taking out EA, charging power like my children? Porn. Receive this nuclear fission, shouted, launching a powerful energy blast at us. Subaru Issei Tatsumi Gonta Asta. Enuma Elish Stardust Extinction Excalibur Sacred Court Magma Star Total Annihilation Titanic Devastation. We all screamed, launching our attacks, colliding with Korn's, generating in the process a huge explosion that would wipe out everything in its path within 500 meters around. On the outskirts of the battlefield. Oscar. Shit, I hope Subaru comes up with a plan to win, he said seriously, while he was in his very large form crushing demons and destroying several using his power lasers. Sebas. Oscar, be careful, he said as they both dodged an attack from Tzeentch, then Sebas began shooting in all directions, killing several demons and cutting some down using his axe. Tzeentch. Idiots, this is the apocalypse, he said with a smile, pulling the strings of everyone's destiny on the battlefield, taking the lives of thousands in the process. Akita. Look how ugly you are, is it that I always have to fight with the ugliest ones? He said, hitting Nurgle. Nurgle. You're lucky I love all living beings, otherwise I'd be hating you right now. Ryu. Yes, as he said, launching several cuts against Nurgle using his sword without any result. Nelson. Shit, there are too many, he said, launching another attack, finishing off a few, but they kept coming while Enzo destroyed them and went through them using his Andromeda chains. Enzo. Let's go, Cosmos Mio is burning, shouted as he increased his power. Jose. Shit, he said while several demons surrounded him, but Giordani and Nero help him. Giordani. Are you okay? He said worriedly. Nero. Don't separate, that would be the worst, now, he said seriously. Diego. Ah, help me, they want to grape me, he said while the Slaanesh demons had him grabbed and some of them pulled down his pants. Enzo. Oh no, that's what he said, running to help him. Sebas. Next porn video red hair being graped by some demons, said mockingly while dodging the blow of another demon. Nelson. Die, he said, piercing the chest of one using his staff and some magic swords that I believe. Back with us after the explosion we fell to the ground due to the shock wave, but we were still standing ready to continue fighting, even though we had injuries. Korn. Wow, they are tough, but now the time has come for them to finally die, he said, generating a miniature galaxy in the palm of his hand. Subaru. Oh no, children, charge your power for what's coming, I said worriedly while I took out Venezdauna. Korn. Idiot, I can use energy manipulation to summon the same phenomenon as the gamma ray burst. When I use it, the area directly around me becomes a miniature singularity, and I can unleash 2 parallel beams of energy in any direction I wish, he said with a smirk. Subaru Issei Tatsumi Ganta Sta. Geopasta Big Bang Crimson Attack Final Flash Omega Blaster Spiritual Energy Cannon, we all shout launching our respective energy attacks. Horn. Gamma Ray Blasting shouted launching his attack, while both techniques finally collided with each other, generating a huge explosion, but quickly the god's attack gained ground surpassing our attacks, hitting us full on generating an explosion that left us very damaged. Subaru. Shit, that really hurt, I said, barely getting up. Horn. Idiot, you can't beat me. In the end, everyone will die. Subaru. Don't be so sure about that, I said with a smile, creating a necklace in the shape of a drill, confusing Korn. Subaru. Now children, I said as we all released our maximum power beginning to generate more power. All. Final form. Robot of human hope, we said, releasing our true power being that of a giant robot that seemed to be made of cosmic energy. Korn. But how is it possible that you damn humans have so much power that you dare to enter the land of the gods? He said, releasing part of his true power, leaving everyone shocked. Subaru. Do you think we'll back down right now? I said seriously as the robot takes off his cape, forming a huge drill in his hands. Issei Ganta Tatsumi Asta. For humanity, the dreams and hopes of all, we will win you Korn, they all said, giving their power to the drill, making it even bigger than it already was. Korn. Do you think you scare me? He said seriously, generating 2 spiral galaxies and grabbing them, joining them into one, forming an enormous mass of cosmic energy. Korn. Feel the power that rivals the Big Bang, the power capable of creating universes, he said with a smile. Subaru Issei Tatsumi Ganta Asta. We don't care, we'll never back down, get this, Giga Drill Breaker, we all shouted as we propelled ourselves forward with a huge drill activated, straight against the god. Korn. Infinity Big Bang Storm shouted launching the energy attack, generating a huge explosion that echoed throughout the area, while both attacks collided with each other, generating shock waves that were felt throughout the area, causing everyone to stop fighting, leaving everyone shocked to feel them. Nurgle. Wow, it's clear Korn is having fun, he said with a smile. Sinch. Heh, that idiot is holding back, he said, leaving the rest shocked, and even more so the children who were very injured from fighting the demons. Slaanesh. Let's just hope he won, he said with a smile. Coronation. After the last clash of powers, we were all left on the floor, seriously injured after Korn's attack. Korn. I admit it was fun, but now tell me you never had a chance against me, what did you want to prove, he said with an arrogant smile. Subaru. Being the distraction, I said with difficulty, while Korn left his arrogant smile. Korn. Ha idiot, I am immortal, do you really think that a plan of yours can kill me, said arrogantly, but in that to his surprise, he is surrounded by multiple keyblades and time chains. The chaos god of war can only watch as the blades travel towards the voice of his enemy from afar. Artoria. Did you really think we didn't have a plan for you? She said, appearing in a space-time crack along with the red-haired girl. Urza. This ends here, she said seriously while holding a huge sky-blue sword that shines with the intensity of 1,000 suns. Urza Artoria. Disappear from existence, god of chaos, they both shouted with determination, while the key swords came together into one, forming their true form. Artoria Urza. Sword of hope, they said with determination as they both advance with a war cry to stab their time-traveling enemy. Korn, warping his time stone and its main core in front of him, while the sword in Korn's body begins to enclose the chaos god in a sort of time prison. Korn. No, what is this, he said, trying to remove the sword, but every time he tried it manipulated the time in his body, making sure he couldn't do it. Outside the fortress you can see the gods of chaos, who had already defeated the boys who were on the ground very injured, not even using their maximum power or their maximum objects could they defeat the gods who only seemed to play with them. Sinch. How pathetic you all are. Nurgle. I still don't understand why the emperor trusted you. Slaanesh. They were just weaklings, he said arrogantly, but then their bodies began to deform, leaving them confused. Oscar. He finally said with difficulty. Sebas. How great you are, my friend, he said with a smile. Nero. We did it. Enzo. Those swords did help. Diego. See you, stupid gods. Jose Giordani. See you later baby, they both said with black sunglasses. Nelson. The masked magician did it again, they said with a big smile on their face. Nikita. Arrivederci said making some signs in farewell. Ryu. Goodbye, say hello to the devil from me, he owes me 5 varos, he said with a smile, while the bodies of the gods of chaos began to be absorbed by a black portal that appeared in the sky. Sinj Slanish Nurgle. Nu we will retiniamuos they screamed as they were sucked in. Meanwhile, in all parts of the world, the few demons that remained on the battlefield began to be absorbed into the portal, being seen by all humans and factions. Shinto Pantheon. Japanese gods are seen fighting with their weapons while driving back the demons. Izanagi. Come on, we can do it, he said, stabbing several demons with his spear, but then he sees how they scream in pain, being absorbed by a portal that appeared. Amaterasu. Wait, if they were absorbed that means that. Susanoo. We one shouted the happy god as he hugged his siblings Tsukiyomi and Amaterasu, while his parents Izanagi and Izanami kissed each other with happiness. Egyptian Pantheon. Ra. Horus continues with the troops, I will distract them, he said seriously while destroying several demons with his solar rays, but then he sees how the demons scream in pain. Anubis. What the hell is going on? He said confused, standing next to Seth, watching the demons disappear into a portal. Osiris. What the hell happened? He said confused. Horus. Who the buck cares, we did it, he said happily. Greek Pantheon. Hades. Damn shitty beasts die now, he shouted while throwing purple hellish flames, along with his brothers Poseidon, who threw water blades, and Zeus, who threw his most powerful rays, destroying thousands of demons in the process, but the rest were also absorbed by the portal. Poseidon. But what did he say, confused. Zeus. Ha 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 ha, I knew they couldn't beat me, the great and powerful Zeus said arrogantly. Poseidon. You are, but you're really stupid. I was the one who killed them. He said seriously while they both looked at each other with hatred, starting another fight of insults. Hades. Sigh, here we go again, he said tiredly. Nordic Pantheon. Thor. Keep fighting warriors, this is for the good of our lands, he said with his hammer, standing next to his brother Tyr, who was helping him by killing demons with his sword. Odin. Simple and disgusting creatures receive the punishment of the King of Asgard. He shouted very annoyed, launching several magical attacks, destroying several, but in that they were absorbed by the portal, leaving everyone shocked but at the same time happy. The Hindu Pantheon. Shiva was in the middle in the lotus flower position burning thousands of demons. Shiva. Kartikeya, my son mobilizes the troops towards the center of the pantheon, he said seriously through a magic circle, while fighting with his fists destroying several demons, but then look how they all disappear from a portal. Shiva. Wow, it seems they did it, he said with a smile looking towards the horizon, very happy to have won. Back with us. Subaru. We did it, I said happily, remaining unconscious on the floor next to my children who were also very injured. A little while later I woke up in a hospital being accompanied by my children and the boys. Subaru. Hey guys, how was it? I said with a smile, but no one said anything because they were hurt by what happened. Issei. Dad, I think everyone is more dead than alive, he said with a straight face when he saw what was happening. Subaru. It was also my fault that I called them to fight with gods whose power is far superior to that of all of us. Asta. The important thing is that we won and that's the first thing. Itsumi. The bad thing is that we have to be on a stretcher for a long time. Banta. I'm fine, honestly, I wanted to rest, he said with a smile. That's when Artoria arrives. Artoria. I'm happy to see you survived, she said with a smile, being accompanied by the red-haired girl. Urza. When they finally wake up we can finally perform the coronation ceremony, she said with a smile. Issei. And what about the factions? He said seriously. Artoria. You don't have to worry about those idiots, they won't bother us anymore since we signed an alliance with them, but if for some reason they try to bother us again, we'll take care of them ourselves, she said with a smile. Urza. Not to mention that we have the help of mythologies so we can perform the ceremony without many problems, she said with a smile. A time later. We were all gathered for the coronation of the new kings of Aegis, while all the humans were sitting waiting for the ceremony until the door opened, revealing the boys who entered the room being accompanied by the chants of some women who were in the stands. And Karanarth Anagar. Long live the king. Moro K. Angler. Here is the queen forever. Purple Arrow View. His strength can. Palom Ravel. Never fail. Romanal Georgia. In the first battles. Alog last to leave. Step to point. Even in death. I raise it like a dragon. Ascend this dragon now. More okay Giram Palam. May his strength never fail. I'm going to die okay Grovel Angler. Can rise forever. Anagar. Ray. Artoria. Issei Sakamaki, Gonta Sakamaki, Tatsumi Sakamaki, and Asta Sakamaki swear to protect the Aegis Kingdom no matter what happens, even if it means giving their lives for others. The four. We accept, they said seriously. Subaru. And they swear to be the four best kings even if bad things happen and to never abandon each other. The four. We accept, they said seriously. We both looked at each other nodding and then placed a crown on each of our heads and then looked at the Aegis people. Artoria Subaru. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome the new kings of Aegis. The primarchs have ascended, she said as everyone began to applaud in a sign of happiness at the arrival of the new kings. And so the story ends. Followers. Subaru. What? Followers. That's all, it's over now. Subaru. Yes. Followers. What a shit. Subaru. But I leave these memes and images to close this with a flourish. Followers. See you. Images and memes. Xeno-sama. There's no way to hold another tournament of power. Oku Vegeta Gohan Piccolo Broly. They're going to need hands to peel our dicks. Izuku. What a nice guy. Subaru. A great Superman. Odd. Ah well, buck you. Lucifer. You're already worth it, Motherbicker. Alistair. Please call the police, they're killing me. Subaru. The AI did it again. Anya. So mommy and daddy made love for 3 hours straight. Eerie. What he said without being able to believe it. Anya. Yes, he said while the other went to the corner with a depressive aura. Eerie. Sister why? Subaru. Damn and Sesua Sasuke, no way. Ilgamish. Give me back to that useless goddess. Aqua. Kazuma help. Subaru. What the hell, the new teacher is a gigachad. Jotaro. Ready for the beating, brat, he said with star platinum ready. Yugi. Exodia manifestate said summoning the golden god. Jotaro. Don't buck with Yugi, you're always giving your nonsense, that's why no one wants to play with you. Subaru. Crazy cheating did it again. Yugi. Hey beautiful, do you want to play? Artoria. No way, she said as she left. Subaru. Perfect dude, you scared her away. Emperor, oh, I have to go get some cigarettes. I'll be right back. Subaru, how great the Emperor is, a true example to follow. Subaru, that guy, I said, pointing at Leo, made bucking Warhammer known here in Latin America. Leo, for the Emperor. Subaru, for the Emperor. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching, if you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day, bye.